current day time to you, my friend. So, the new Dungeon Island complex has now been revealed to us, and they've given us a little bit of information about, you know, how you can unlock space on this habitat and the different parts to it. So, they said, attention Dragon Lords! The new update goes live on July 2nd, next Tuesday, and we'd like to share all the important changes with you in advance. The new island complex consists of 3 islands, the Dungeon Plateau, Otto's Grotto, and the Steam Field. So if you want to try and work out what those 3 are, let's go by the first one. So we've got the Dungeon Plateau. I imagine that this is this section here that has a big agave dragon sitting there for some reason. I don't really know why there's a huge agave dragon sitting there. And then Otto's Grotto should be, I imagine, this section here where there's all the manky all the manky swamp stuff. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. And then the steam fields, I imagine, would be this part here, because, you know, it looks steamy and dungeony. So, that's my take anyway. That's my guess as to what the 3 parts are. I mean, it's probably pretty obvious, but, you know, we'll take that as it is. So, all 3 islands can be unlocked for new yellow dungeon tokens. New dungeon tokens can be collected through exploring the new dungeon map. So that's the difference between this island and all of our existing islands. This island, you can actually interact with it and unlock things for the island based off of clearing the dungeon. So actually makes clearing the dungeon a very important thing to do, especially because you don't need to unlock all of the other islands to get access to this island, which is pretty cool. So the 3 islands need to be unlocked individually. Unlocking previous islands is not required to unlock the new dungeon islands, which I think that's going to be a great piece of information for people to remember, because especially with lower level people, they might be really low on gold when they're trying to unlock new islands. For obviously the higher level guys, this isn't really an issue, but for the lower level people, it means that they don't have to waste all of their valuable gold unlocking this. And then clearing obstacles from these islands costs yellow dungeon tokens. Certain obstacles can be purchased in the dungeon shop as decoration for yellow dungeon tokens. So, you know, we've got these new dungeon tokens that we get for the bottomless dungeon stuff, these new time-limited dragons that we can get, and a lot of the stuff on this island is, well, all of it is pretty much dungeon token only purchasable, and it's the yellow dungeon tokens, not the old ones, because the blue ones are going out of commission. The new yellow ones are the ones that we're going to be using to unlock all of this. So I actually really like its design, to be honest. A couple of people have said, it's too small, but this is just an addition on top of what we already have. Personally, I'm not out of space, but I think that with this new island and the areas unlocked, I should be pretty dead set for quite a while. Obviously, I don't speak for everyone. I'm just talking about my own personal interactions with the island, but I've got more than enough space as it is. It's just covered with pointless decorations at the moment, some of the islands. So this should be, you know, just extra space in case we ever tend to need it. And also on top of that, the DML wiki's updated with a couple of image files, and apparently this guy's called the Frost Flame Dragon, although that could change, because when the wiki uploads files, sometimes they get early names for the dragons and they don't get the really updated names for them, but this is Mr. Frostflame for now. And I have to say, they've also uploaded the image files for the Singularity Dragon, and I don't know who's working on these eggs, but these DML eggs are looking pretty damn good recently, so kudos to whoever the lead designer on the DML eggs is. I'm a major fan at the moment. So that is all of the new info regarding the dungeon. I don't know what you think about it. I mean, it's really weird that we finally have an island that's quite different from what we've had before, but I'm happy with the change, because again, it's always been so stagnant, just the same thing over and over again. It just gets kind of boring, where it's like, oh look, new island, buy it with gold, then we're done. Although at the same time, I guess, you know, since it's been a long time since I've unlocked an island, at the same time I don't really do it very often. So I guess you could say, well, you never do it anyway, so what's it matter? Am I even getting these points? These food collection points, game. Why are you being so delayed with me? See this? I'm collecting and I'm not getting anything for it. You kidding me? There we go. It's actually gone through now. For a second I was spooked. I was like, oh my god, please give me the points. Don't tell me I've just collected all of this food and it hasn't gone through. Whew. Spooked me for a little bit. Because the thing is, now that we're on level 6 of the event, it's actually really, really important that our all of our food collection and stuff like that is done on time and done properly. Because we are back up to the 750 pools for items or, you know, stuff that we can collect. And my goodness gracious me, is 750 kind of difficult to manage when it comes to stuff like fights, and especially difficult when it comes to the breeding section. You guaranteed need that second breeding den to put a big dent in the breeding section part for it. But I think at this point it doesn't really make sense that the breeding points we get are so low, because even if you have 2 breeding dens, depending on the breed that you're going for, you might get screwed over. So I think at this point they should just make the breeding be worth slightly more than it is at the moment. I don't know, obviously that's coming from someone that it doesn't like the fact that it's literally impossible to clear out the breeding with a single breeding den. Even if you don't want to make it doable with a single breeding den, at the very least you can make it a little bit easier, right? I mean, considering we've even got to the stage where we have 750 points for these events, which, let's not tap out, which makes them quite a lot easier. You know, make the breeding bit slightly easier, will ya? That would be fantastic. Because you have to get a dragon above level 20 to fully complete the Feed Dragons quest, so you need to be hatching 2 dragons every single time you want to do the Feed Dragons section, which, that can be a pain in the ass. But then you get to the winning battle section, and you have to do, like, a bajillion fights. Not even joking. I think it's like, I haven't calculated the exact amount. It's probably pretty simple, but I have to use at least 3 lots of portal energy to be able to fully clear out the battle section, which means that's over 33 pieces of energy. And let's be honest, the average person just does not have that amount of portal energy sitting around, especially if they've used it on the previous levels of the event. If you use any of your stored up 200 portal energy, or you don't have 200 portal energy, you're going to have a tough time fully clearing out the actual attack sections or fight sections in the event fully. So this is the reason that I love to stockpile all of my portal energy for the sake of this. It just means that I don't really have to worry about doing the battles during the event. I mean, it's probably still going to be better to not waste portal energy, so, you know, just log in during the reset a couple of times. But if you're someone that only really logs in once during a reset to clear everything out, sometimes you gotta waste a bit of portal energy to make that happen. You know, people have got things to do in their day. Not everyone can come back every couple of hours and do all their fights. So, if that's the case, you really need to make sure you stock up, don't spend any, and then you should be fine after that. But I do appreciate the fact that, you know, these days we have 750 per quest every 6 hours. But at the same time, I feel like maybe it is intentional, because it feels like it's impossible to get close to clearing all of those as a lower level player. So maybe it's done on purpose so that higher level people have more of an advantage. I don't know. Like, usually with castle events, I've always said that, you know, anyone of any player level can finish it. You don't have to be max level and everything to do it. But it does help. It does help, undoubtedly so. Like, a lower level person with level 20 dragons is not going to have 11 portal energy on average to use. And then, at the same time, they might not have space in their breeding den because they might have other stuff that they really need to breed. They might have bred something by accident if they're a little bit of a numpty. You know, all these things factor in. Same with the food that you can put in. Sometimes maybe they can't afford a certain grade of food that they need, or more so specifically a certain timer of food. In which case, you know, I understand people saying that the castle events are difficult. To me, these days, they're not. And especially with these higher higher currency earning sort of levels now, it means that if you can fully clear all of the quests, you're going to finish the event really quickly when you get to level 6. But that's why it's so important to get to level 6 really quickly. Like, as fast as you can. Because when you get to level 6, 750 compared to the 450 before that is just such a massive difference. Like, undoubtedly. So, I really hope that you can get to level 6 really nice and quick, get all of the earning for the battles and everything sorted, and then you can finally start earning the big boy bucks when it comes to when it comes to castle event currency. Sometimes my brain just says certain words that I really don't want to say. I don't know what it is. It's like, you want to say castle, say spider. I don't know. Brains work in weird ways. Maybe I'm actually thinking about a spider. You never know. I might be thinking about anything, to be honest with you. But if I'm lazy, I do tend to use my instant win tickets, but even instant win tickets aren't enough, because one set of instant win tickets for me is about the exact amount that I need to clear one lot of fights. So I really do have to just log in, redo the blue map fights, or redo the Nidhogg battle over and over and over again. It does get kind of boring and repetitive, but you know, that's the price we gotta pay for fast event progression. You know, if I don't want to progress quickly in the event, I could just not do the battles, but you know, that's a loser giving up. I refuse to accept my loss. So you see, we've still got 25 points to get. We can get that whenever we get some more energy. Catching creatures is really difficult to complete at this point as well, and collect gold takes at least 2 collections for me, which, considering how many habitats I have, that's actually kind of ridiculous, because a normal person doesn't have, like, how many habitats do I have? 140? 150? 154 of them, to be exact. Like, your average guy is not going to have 150 habitat spaces. So, yeah, it gets kind of tiresome, kind of tedious trying to get through these events like this, but a necessary evil nonetheless. And you could say that, you know, you've already got Erlang Shen, so why don't you just go to the previous levels and clear all of those first? Well, I want to get the key. I want to get the second Erlang Shen dragon first, and then we're going to go back to all the previous levels. Because if you've already got Erlang Shen and you don't really care too much whether you're going to be guaranteed to get him or not, then technically as soon as you get to level 6, you could just start going back to the previous levels. Because one thing I will always remind you of with castle events is, normally after you get the level 6 reward, don't just fully clear level 6 out. That is never the best thing to do. Go back to the previous levels and unlock the chests in those first. The reason for that being that these chests cost less to open than the ones on the final level, so that means that you can increase the amount of pieces that you get for Chrono Erlang Shen. So even if you don't finish, and you don't finish Chrono Erlang Shen, you've guaranteed that you've got as many of these pieces as you can, because sometimes these pieces come out in bundles in the shop, come out in bundles in other little places, so guaranteeing that you get the most amount of pieces for Chrono Erlang Shen is the most important thing when you have all of the other rewards in the castle event. So just reminding you of that, so make your decisions based off of that today. And very soon we're probably going to start breeding Jade Warrior. Depends on how much I feel like I care about the breeding points, I guess. But at this point we're barely clearing the breeding at all, so it doesn't really matter too much. But that is all the new goss and my current progression. You can just see how long it all takes. At least we got Chronos in 5 minutes. But regardless, I am looking forward to this new island complex. Where is it? Down here? They said southwest, right? So it's here. Which is going to change the position of the whale mart? I don't know. Maybe it's just going to be past the whale mart over here. So there's going to be a little dinky little lake thing. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see where the actual positioning of that new dungeon stuff or dungeon island is going to be. But regardless, for now, thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, hopefully, I will see you then.